Well, hello, Lake Avenue Church. I hope you are hanging in there this week and doing well on this Friday. What a week in so many ways. For me personally, coming back from spring break, having a week of camping with my family was wonderful. So grateful to Pastor Matthew for preaching such a powerful sermon on Sunday. Been very reflective of that sermon. This is a week for our family where everybody's back in school full day. We're grateful for that development, but definitely has brought a level of newness to our family and realizing we just don't have the endurance we used to. So we've got to build all of that up. And then, of course, just another week where it feels like every day I wake up, check my news feed after I spend some time with the Lord, and I'm just blown away. And here we are on Friday morning, and to read about what happened in Indianapolis after what we've heard happened in Chicago, what's happening continues to happen in Minnesota. Just a tough world we live in, friends. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful that in this life, God has given us one another to live, to be a part of his mission in this world. I know it's difficult. I know it's hard for so many of us to even understand what faithfulness looks like in this world. I'm drawn, as Matthew was preaching about being stuck in the time loop and all the changes that are around us. We're going to pull an audible for the next several weeks in our teaching series. On Easter, you know that I preached out of John 17, this final section of Jesus's prayer before he begins his road to the cross formally. And in that, we looked at the section where he prayed for us, these future followers of Jesus. We looked on Easter and talked about how the evidence of the resurrection is on us actually being faithful to the prayer that Jesus prays for us, to love God and to be in unity with one another. And this is kind of the way he's going to show the world who he is and proof of the resurrection. And again, I mean this with all my heart. I can't imagine being with a better group of people to prove resurrection. That being said, if it's true, and I think Matthew's spot on, that we're stuck in a bit of a time loop, we need to go to timelessness to get our marching orders. And for the next 2 weeks, I want us to stay in John 17. I want us to back up a little bit. There's 3 movements to Jesus's prayer. I'm inviting you to just sit in John 17 for the next 2 weeks with us as a congregation. Jesus first prays for himself, he then prays for his immediate disciples, and then he prays for future believers. We've covered future believers, but I think as we look at the immediate disciples, the world they lived in, the change that was happening with Jesus departing from them, the church that they would establish, that we are a part of that legacy and a part of that faithfulness, there were some clarifying things that Jesus prayed for them. And I think it would be helpful for us to look at those things. I think what we'll see and we'll look at this weekend is he gives a pretty clear mission. He spends time in his prayer talking about the difference of being not of the world, but being sent into the world. That's the mission of the disciples. And then he speaks just kind of these 2 keys for the way you'll live out your mission. One we'll look at this weekend is being sanctified in the truth. And Jesus will go on to say the truth is the word of God. And so we're going to look at what sanctification means. And what does it mean when Jesus prays that his disciples would be sanctified in the truth? And then what he prays for us at the end, we looked at Easter, he prays for them about this unity thing again. I think both of these messages are very timely for us in the world we're living in and the faithfulness we're trying to bring into this world. I think the key to us, one is understanding our relationship to this world and what Jesus has called us into in this world. If we can understand our mission, that's pretty important. So we'll spend time looking at that. But also, what does it mean to be sanctified in the truth to fulfill that mission? And what does it mean, this call to be unified and to be one as the Father and the Son are one? And why does that matter in our mission? So for the next 2 weeks, we're going to stay in John. We're going to finish this love series in John 17. So just marinate in that text. And then after 2 weeks, we're going to begin a new series in the book of Philippians. And so you can already begin to read ahead. I think, again, Philippians is a real important text all the time, but I think it'll be a great follow-up to this love series as we look at one church in particular that is working out what it means to love God and to be in unity with one another, to fulfill the mission of God in this world. And so 2 more weeks in John, but we'll be in just chapter 17. So just sit in that prayer. You could sit in that prayer every day. I am. And it's deep, and we're going to look at it and understand what being sanctified, sanctifying them in the truth. What did Jesus mean there? Next week, we'll look at the unity call of Jesus's prayer. Then we'll jump into Philippians, and then I'm very excited. Pastor Scott and I are working on a series for June that will connect us more intimately with a few of our missionaries and our international workers. We'll just look at God's heart for the world and the globe and the nations and the call of God. And then, I could keep going. I could tell you where we're going after that. But I just got to tell you, as I look at the text and the scriptures and the books that God's called us to, I think we're in for quite a journey over the next 6 months. And I invite you to stay in that journey with us. As you know, things are opening up more formally and widely for us at Lake Avenue Church, so be connected to all of those things. I hope to see so many of you at our 9 o'clock worship service indoor. If you are able to sign up and come, we will continue to have our 11:30 outdoor service for now. And so we can see you there as well. And then, of course, our stream is available as well. You'll remember what Chris said to you last week. We're doing some overdue repair on the chapel roof. And so for that reason, Comunidad is coming right in after we finish our 9 o'clock worship service and using the worship center. So we won't be formally putting a 9 o'clock and an 11 a.m. Stream. We'll have to 9, and then it'll be on demand after. And then, of course, at least right now, what we're doing is putting an edited version of the previous week's sermon on our KKLA show at 2:30 on Sundays. And so Matthew will be on the air this week. This is a great weekend for us. We have a membership seminar. I still think there's time for you to sign up. If you watch this on Friday, we've got, my understanding, at least a dozen folks that are new. And for so many of you, could I just close with this? And I'm going to speak to some new people for us. And if you are just been around for a while, just be encouraged. One of the highlights for me of Easter, yes, I got 26,000 steps on Easter. 5 services, starting at 7, finished at 5:30. I looked down at my Fitbit and I was blown away with how many steps I had. I was dancing a lot during this great song Cedric led. But for our outdoor services, 7, 2, and 4, what I was struck by was how many of you are new to this church family. So many of you, your first time on campus. So grateful that during a pandemic, God called you to be a part of our church family. And we are grateful that you are on the journey with us. This is the time to be following Jesus together. And God is faithful to bringing new folks to us. For those of you who aren't new, he's so faithful to keep you a part of us. I love our us. And I look forward to the next several months of getting deeper into the scriptures together, of coming in mission together, and actually attempting to fulfill the prayer that Jesus prays for us, to love him with everything. That's connected to the sanctification that we'll look at this week, and to love one another in such a way that we demonstrate to the world who he is. And if we can be honest, that's a struggle. It's a struggle in the church overall. Every pastor I talked to this week, I've shared tears with pastors the last 2 to 3 weeks of the great division that is happening within the church in general. And we're not immune from that. It's happening in Los Angeles, and it's also happening nationally. But I have great hope that as we come to Jesus, be sanctified in his truth, to fulfill the prayer, to become the one that Jesus calls us to, that there are great days ahead for the gospel and great days ahead for us, specifically at Lake Avenue Church. We love you so much. I look forward to being with you on Sunday. All right, bye-bye.